Jack Hunter was just an ordinary human pilot. He was transporting supplies between space colonies when something went wrong. A sudden energy wave hit his ship, alarms blared, lights flashed red. The ship lost control and crashed on an unknown alien moon. When Jack opened his eyes, he was lying on hard stone. His head throbbed, his arms were tied behind his back. Alien guards, tall and muscular, with reptilian skin and glowing yellow eyes, stood around him. He tried to speak, but one of them hit him in the stomach with a staff. "Move, outsider!" The guard hissed. They dragged Jack through a large gate. What he saw next made his heart stop. A giant arena filled with roaring alien spectators surrounded him. Thousands of strange creatures shouted, growled, and cheered. In the center of the arena, two huge warriors fought with long blades, their bodies covered in thick, scaly armor. One of them roared and sliced the other in half. The crowd cheered wildly. Jack's legs went numb. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a warrior. He was just a supply pilot. A horn blew, loud and deep. The alien announcer, speaking in a language Jack couldn't understand, raised his voice. But Jack understood one thing clearly. This was some kind of deadly ritual. The guard pushed Jack forward. "You fight now." "What? Fight?" "Wait, I'm not one of you." Jack shouted, but no one listened. Weapons were thrown into the arena: spears, axes, and blades. Jack didn't move. He had no training, no armor, no weapon. From the other side of the arena, a monstrous alien stepped in. Twice Jack's height, covered in bone-plated armor with red glowing eyes and tusks. It roared and charged straight at Jack. Jack panicked. He turned to run, but tripped on a rock and fell. The alien swung its massive blade down toward him. Jack rolled to the side just in time, grabbing a broken staff from the ground. He swung it wildly. It hit the alien in the knee. The beast stumbled. Jack didn't think, he just moved. He dodged another blow and rolled toward a spiked trap on the ground. The monster followed but didn't notice the trap. Its foot sank into it with a snap. The alien screamed in pain. Jack grabbed a nearby spear and, shaking with fear, jammed it into the beast's side. It fell. Silence fell over the crowd. Then roars of shock and cheers exploded from every corner. The human had just taken down one of their strongest warriors. By accident. Alien females, sitting in a special viewing section, looked down at him with curious eyes. One of them, with glowing purple skin and long silver hair, leaned forward. She watched Jack closely, her lips parting slightly. "He lives," she whispered. A male beside her growled. "Beginner's luck. He won't survive the next round." Jack stood up slowly, covered in dust and blood that wasn't his. His heart was beating like a drum. He didn't know what he had just done, but he was still alive. Guards pulled him away from the body. They didn't kill him. Instead, they led him into a tunnel beneath the arena. He was thrown into a small holding cell. Cold, dark, and wet. Moments later, someone entered. A female. Tall, graceful, with violet eyes and shimmering skin. She walked up to him with a bowl of water and cloth. She began cleaning his wounds. Jack stared at her. "What is this place? What are they doing?" She looked into his eyes. "You are now a part of the mating ritual of the Draxian. Fight, win, or die." Jack blinked. "Mating ritual?" She nodded. "The champion wins not just freedom, but every female of his choosing?" He felt his blood freeze. "I'm not supposed to be here. This is a mistake." She smiled softly. "Then it is a deadly one." She touched his chest lightly, her eyes serious now. "Survive, human, or be remembered as the fool who died where legends are born." The moment Jack opened his eyes, the cell was already glowing red. The walls trembled. The air was hot, thick with dust and blood. Another fight was about to begin. Two armored guards stood at his door, their eyes glowing like burning coals. "Get up, human," one growled. "Next round begins. You fight now." Jack stood slowly, his body still aching from yesterday. His hand shook as he reached for the spear the alien woman had left beside him. He didn't want to fight. He wanted to go home, but there was no choice. He was pushed into the arena once again. This time it looked different. Giant pillars stood like towers and smoke covered the ground. The audience was even louder, now Ayla chanting in a rhythm that made Jack's bones rattle. They were excited, not because they believed in him, but because they wanted to see him die. Across the field, 3 alien warriors stepped out. Each was bigger, faster, and better armed than Jack. This wasn't a duel. It was an execution. A voice echoed from above. Round 2, let the trial of flesh begin. The horn sounded. The first warrior charged, swinging a double-blade axe at Jack's head. Jack ducked, barely missing the strike. The second alien flanked him, trying to pin him between the two. The third stayed back, watching like a predator waiting to pounce. Jack knew he couldn't take them head-on. He ran through the smoke, dodging behind a pillar. The crowd booed. They wanted blood, not a chase, but Jack had learned something yesterday. Brute strength wouldn't save him. Smart thinking might. He waited behind the pillar, breathing hard. One of the warriors followed, blade ready. Jack grabbed a stone and threw it behind another pillar to trick him. The alien turned. Wrong move. Jack leapt from behind and shoved his spear into the warrior's side. The armor cracked, but the warrior didn't fall. It turned and slammed its elbow into Jack's chest, sending him flying. Pain shot through his ribs. He gasped, crawling through the dust. The other 2 were closing in. Come on, Jack. Duck. He whispered to himself. He remembered the floor some spots were weak yesterday. He needed a trap. He sprinted toward a dark patch of ground and stopped there, pretending to fall. One of the aliens rushed forward, raising its weapon, but the moment its foot landed on the cracked stone, the ground gave way. A hidden pit swallowed him whole. The crowd gasped. The second alien hesitated. That was all Jack needed. He grabbed the spear of the fallen warrior and threw it like a javelin. It struck the alien in the leg. Roaring in pain, the creature staggered. Jack ran, picked up a fallen blade, and charged. With a spin, he sliced through the warrior's armor. One left. The third, the quiet one, the biggest of all, finally entered. The fight. Jack was exhausted, sweating, bleeding, breathing heavy. The alien just stood there, holding a massive axe with both hands, but then it threw the weapon aside. It wanted to fight. Bare-handed. The crowd went silent. This was a show of dominance. A message. You are not worthy of a weapon. Jack dropped his blade too, if this was going to end, it would end his way. The alien swung first. Jack dodged left, then right, then ducked under a punch that cracked the stone pillar behind him. Too strong. Jack couldn't beat him in strength, but he could outlast him. Minutes passed like hours. They traded blows, dodged, rolled. Then finally Jack saw the opening. The alien stumbled slightly. Jack grabbed a loose chain from the ground, ran behind, and wrapped it around the alien's neck. Jumping on its back, the alien thrashed like a beast, but Jack held on. Until the giant fell. Silence, then a roar louder than thunder. The crowd couldn't believe it. The human had survived. Again, from the royal box, the alien female stood in silence. Some were shocked. Some were smiling. One of them, Vera, clenched the edge of the railing. Her heart was pounding. This is no accident, she whispered. He is adapting. Below, Jack dropped to his knees. He didn't feel like a winner. He felt like a man running on borrowed time. As guards came to take him away again, he looked up at the sky. Is this how legends begin? He whispered to himself. Jack lay on the cold floor of his cell, covered in bruises, blood, and silence. His body ached, but his mind was worse. He hadn't just survived again, he had become entertainment. A living joke turned into a rising legend. And legends didn't sleep. The door creaked open. Jack looked up. It was her again, the alien woman with glowing violet eyes and silver hair that flowed like starlight. She entered with a bowl of water and a folded cloth. She wore a long robe made of soft, shimmering silk, and her presence filled the dark cell with a strange light. She didn't speak at first. She knelt beside him and began, wiping the blood off his face gently, like she wasn't cleaning a fighter, but someone she cared for. Jack stared at her. You were watching? She nodded. I don't understand this place, he said, voice low. Why are they making me fight? Why me? Her hand paused. She looked into his eyes. You are now part of the ritual of claiming Only the strongest male becomes mate lord, the rest. Jack let out a tired laugh. Great, so I'm the accidental suitor in a bloody love contest. She didn't smile. This is sacred to my people, she said softly. To win means everything, power, legacy, bloodlines. Is that what you want? Jack asked. To be claimed by the one who survives? She looked down. I wanted choice, she whispered. But our world doesn't work that way. Jack sat up slowly. Do I have a choice? She leaned closer and whispered, You do now. That's why they fear you. Fear me? Jack asked. I'm not a monster. I'm not even one of you. That's what makes you dangerous, she said. You don't follow the rules? Silence. Filled the cell for a moment, then she reached into her robe and took out a folded cloth. She unwrapped it. Inside was a small glowing pendant with shifting colors. This is mine, she said. It glows when I'm near someone who has the right spirit. The one I should bond with. Jack's heart skipped a beat. Why show me? Because it glowed when I touched your blood. Jack stared at her. He didn't know what to say. She stood up quickly, like she had said too much. You will be moved to the champion's chamber, she said, changing the subject. You've passed the second round. That means you've drawn the attention of the High Council. Jack stood shakily. Is that good news? She looked at him over her shoulder. No, she said. It means they're watching you closely now, and some of them want you dead before you win again? Guards arrived, but before they could enter, the woman leaned in and pressed her forehead gently to Jack's just for a moment. Gesture of connection. Then she walked away. Jack was taken to a new chamber cleaner, brighter, lined with smooth stone and fire lamps. On the wall was a mark spiral with 7 points. He pointed to it. What does this mean? One of the guards answered with a grunt. 7 trials. You have survived 2. 5 remain. Jack sat down on the bed and stared at the fire. 5 more. He hadn't come here to be a hero. He had just wanted to deliver supplies and go home. Now he was something else. And somewhere deep inside him, a strange feeling started to grow, not just fear, not just survival, but something about her. That alien woman with soft hands and sad eyes. He didn't even know her name, but maybe, just maybe, that would change. Jack woke up to silence. No cheers. No guards shouting, just ... silence. He opened his eyes and found himself in a new chamber, taller, darker, colder. The walls pulsed with soft blue veins like the place was alive. A new robe had been placed beside his bed, black with silver-lined symbols he didn't recognize. Suddenly, a heavy door creaked open. It wasn't the guards. It was her, the alien woman with violet eyes. This time, she wasn't carrying water or cloth. She brought something far more dangerous. Knowledge. You've entered the maze of proving, she said softly, walking toward him. No one has made it to this trial in 50 years. You're already rewriting history. Jack sat up. So it's not a fight this time? She shook her head. It's worse. It's a test of mind. And instincts. A living maze filled with traps, illusions, and death. Jack's eyes narrowed. And the goal? To reach the heart stone in the center, she said. Touch it and you move forward. Fail, and the maze keeps you. Forever? He asked. She didn't answer, but her silence said everything. Before she turned to leave, she dropped something beside him, a torn corner of parchment with odd, jagged lines. Half a map, she whispered. The rest you'll have to feel. Jack stood slowly. Why are you helping me? She looked back with something between hope and fear in her eyes. Because if you die, they win. The horn sounded above, long and deep. Doors slid open on both sides of the arena, and Jack stepped into darkness. The maze of proving had begun. Inside. The walls shifted. Literally, every path Jack walked twisted behind him. He marked walls with blood from his scraped hand, but when he looked back, his marks were gone. Mist covered the ground. Strange whispers filled the air, alien voices speaking in his own language. Go home, Jack. She's lying. You will never belong here. Jack covered his ears and pushed forward. Then he heard footsteps, but not one set. 3. Suddenly, through the mist, 3 shadowy figures appeared, armored, silent, deadly, Draxian champions. This trial wasn't just traps. It was hunting grounds. Jack ran. He ducked behind a wall just as one of them passed him. He noticed something: the champions were leaving glowing footprints behind, mist. Wasn't his enemy anymore. It was their trail. Jack began to move again, but smartly following from behind. One champion triggered a floor trap and fell into a spiked pit. The scream echoed far. One down. The second began using a scanning device, clearly trying to find Jack. Jack picked up a rock, threw it down another corridor, and waited. The alien ran after the noise straight into a swinging blade trap. Gone. 2 down, only one left. This one was different, silent, careful, smart. Moved slower now, hugging walls, stepping only on stone that didn't seem loose. Hours passed. Or maybe just minutes. Time was strange in this place. Then he saw it. Red glow in the center of a circular room. The heart stone. It floated above a pedestal, pulsing gently. But between him and it stood the last champion. This time the alien spoke. "You are no warrior, just a mistake." "You shouldn't be here." Jack nodded. "I agree. But mistakes sometimes change the game." The champion attacked. Jack dodged barely. He used the walls, bouncing off them, picking up a chain and wrapping it around the alien's leg. He used gravity, confusion, and speed, not power. After a brutal scuffle, Jack finally disarmed the alien and kicked him into a collapsing trapdoor, alone now. Breathing heavily, Jack limped to the heartstone. It was warm to the touch, and when he placed his hand on it, the maze stopped. The walls stopped moving, the whispers faded. A light beamed down from the ceiling, lifting Jack into the air. Above, the council stood, watching in stunned silence. One of the elders hissed, "This is no accident. The human is adapting too well." But in the corner, Vera smiled for the first time. She whispered, "He's not fighting for survival anymore. He's fighting for me." When Jack's feet touched solid ground again, he wasn't in the cell. He was standing on a marble platform, high above the arena, in front of the Council of Elders. Their dark robes rippled with quiet energy. Dozens of alien nobles sat in rows, staring at him like he was some wild beast they couldn't explain. Behind them, in balconies carved from white stone, stood the alien females, dozens of them, some young, some noble, some even royal, and many of them were watching only him. Jack noticed one of them, Vera, standing in silence with her hands clasped. His heart beat faster. The High Elder stepped forward. His eyes burned gold, and his voice was like gravel. "You have completed 3 trials. Outsider, you are not of our blood, not of our kind, and yet—" He paused, eyes narrowing. "You live." Whispers filled the chamber. One noble spat on the floor. Another stood up and shouted, "This is madness. He's not Draxian, he's just lucky." But one of the female nobles rose and said firmly, "Luck doesn't survive a maze with 3 champions." Jack stepped forward. "You want me gone? Fine, but I didn't ask to be here. You pulled me into this ritual. Now I play by the rules you forced on me." The High Elder stared. Then slowly he lifted a staff. "Very well. You pass to the next stage." But as he turned to leave, one of the defeated champion's brothers stormed into the hall, his eyes burning with rage. "No!" he roared. "I challenge the outsider. Now. A blood challenge." The crowd gasped. That wasn't tradition. That was personal, but the law was clear. If challenged, the human had to accept or be declared a coward and disqualified. Jack clenched his fists. He was still tired, bruised, weak. The brother stood tall, his claws dripping venom. But then a second voice echoed across the arena. "I stand as the human's shield." Everyone turned. It was Vera. She stepped forward, robes flowing behind her like liquid starlight. She faced the council, her voice clear and proud. "I invoke the first bond right. If he falls, I fall with him." Gasps filled the air. The first bond right? It was ancient, rare, a ritual where a female offers her life to protect a male even before he claims her. No female has done this in centuries. Someone yelled, but it was too late. The elder nodded. "So be it, the bond is witnessed." The duel begins. The arena floor changed. Now it was pure sand, wide and empty under a red sky. The challenger entered with twin axes. Jack stepped in, holding nothing but a broken spear. The gates closed, and the crowd leaned in. The battle was brutal. The challenger fought like a demon. Fueled by rage and revenge, Jack dodged, rolled, tricked. He threw sand into the alien's eyes, used broken rocks as weapons, even set a hidden wire trap that yanked the alien off his feet. The tide turned. Jack climbed the fallen alien's back and held the broken spear to his throat. "Yield!" he shouted. But the alien only hissed, "Never to a human." So Jack did something no one expected. He dropped the weapon. "I won't kill you," he said. "Even if I could." He stepped back. The alien froze, then screamed in shame and fell to his knees. Silence swept through the arena. No cheers. Just stunned awe. Jack didn't just defeat a warrior, he defeated their hate. Later that night, in his chamber, Vera entered once more. But this time, she didn't carry water or maps. She carried herself. She walked up to Jack and whispered, "You could have killed him. Why didn't you?" Jack looked at her. "Because I'm not here to prove I'm stronger than anyone else. I'm here because someone like you believed I could be more than just a fighter." Vera's voice trembled. "I believed because when I touched your blood, my soul answered." She stepped closer. Their hands touched, and the pendant around her neck glowed bright gold, a reaction so rare. It only happened once in a generation. Jack sat alone beneath the twin moons. His chamber was no longer a cell, it was now a suite. Made for champions, soft lights, warm cushions, bowls of exotic fruit he didn't recognize, gold markings painted on the walls. But all of it felt hollow. He had won 4 trials. He had earned the right to lead. And yet, he felt more trapped than ever. The door opened without a knock. Vera stepped in. She had changed, wearing a dark blue ceremonial robe, her silver hair braided with beads that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Her expression was unreadable. "You haven't spoken since the challenge," she said quietly. Jack didn't look up. "They look at me like I'm their new god. You survived 4 trials? No outsider has ever made it this far. The others fear you now," he laughed bitterly. "I didn't come here to be feared." She stepped closer. "But they've already started choosing who you will claim. Council daughters, highborn females, even the war maidens." Jack's fists clenched. "I don't want to claim anyone." Vera lowered her gaze. "You must. It's law. The Mate Lord must take at least 3 females before the 6th trial. They will not let you fight alone again." Jack stood. "So I'm no longer just a fighter, I'm a breeder now?" Her eyes glistened. "You are more than they ever expected. That scares them." Just then a chime rang. The council had summoned him. The council chamber was colder than before. The High Elder sat in the center, his fingers steepled. Dozens of alien females lined the steps, painted, perfumed, and dressed for selection. Their eyes followed Jack like he was prey or a prize. One stepped forward. Tall, regal, golden skin with emerald eyes. "I am Lysha," she said proudly, "daughter of General Torvak. I offer myself to the human Mate Lord." Another stepped up, another. 7 in total. Each more beautiful, each with high status. The High Elder turned to Jack. "You may choose 3. By law?" Jack looked around. So this was it, the moment, the reward, the trap. He saw them smiling, not out of love, out of ambition, out of power. And then he looked at Vera, standing in the far corner, silent, uninvited, unwanted by the council, but everything inside him pulled toward her. "I choose," Jack said loudly. The room went quiet. "I choose." "No one!" Gasps filled the air. One of the nobles shouted, "He insults tradition." Another female hissed, "He rejects the bloodlines." But Jack raised a hand. "I did not come here to own anyone. I am not your king. I will finish your trials. But I'll do it as a man, not as your puppet." The High Elder's eyes burned. "And what of the law?" Jack looked at him calmly. "Change it." The room exploded in chaos. Guards stepped forward, ready to arrest him, but then Vera stepped. In front of him, she held her glowing pendant high. "It has already changed," She said, "The soul match has been confirmed." The council froze. Even the High Elder sat back slowly. To reject a soul match was to reject the oldest truth of their people. It wasn't a choice. It was fate. That night, in the quiet of his chamber, Jack and Vera sat by the fire. He looked at her. "You risked everything?" She smiled faintly. "I already did." "The moment I touched your blood," Jack's voice was low. "They're not done trying to stop me, are they?" "No," she whispered. "They'll come harder in the next trial. Not just to defeat you, but to break you." Jack looked into the fire. "They'll have to try harder." The final trial wasn't announced. It arrived like a storm in the night. Jack was sleeping when the alarm screamed. His chamber shook, stone cracked. Guards ran past his door, screaming in panic. He rushed out and saw the arena in flames. Not from war, from something alive. A massive, black-scaled creature had broken through the underground vaults. 20 feet tall, 4 arms, red glowing veins across its chest. Eyes like molten lava. The beast of the forgotten trials, a creature created by ancient Draxian scientists. Caged for centuries. Unleashed only if a champion threatened the power of the council. Tonight, it had one purpose: to kill the human. Jack didn't wait for orders. He grabbed his old spear and ran toward the flames. Inside the arena, chaos ruled. Draxian warriors lay crushed beneath the beast's fists. Female nobles screamed from balconies. Vera stood at the top steps, her eyes wide, unable to move. Jack climbed onto a fallen pillar and shouted, "Hey, you ugly rock, come get me." The beast turned, and it charged. Jack dove aside just in time. His spear snapped against the creature's armor. He grabbed a fallen chain and jumped from the stands, wrapping it around one of its legs. The beast roared, dragging him across the ground. Jack smashed into a wall. Pain shot through every bone, but he stood. Again, blood in his mouth and fire in his heart. In the council tower above, the High Elder watched in silence. "He will fall," one noble said. "No," whispered another. "He is not just surviving anymore, he is becoming Draxian." Jack led the beast through the maze ruins, luring it under a crumbling arch. As it lunged, he dove aside and rolled, grabbing a flaming javelin from a fallen guard's corpse. He leapt from behind and jammed the weapon into the glowing veins on the creature's back. The beast screamed. It collapsed, ripping at the weapon, stumbling, and finally fell. Dead. Smoke rose from its body. The arena fell silent. Then the impossible happened. The Draxians bowed, one by one. Warriors, elders, even council members. Vyra descended the steps slowly, her eyes full of tears. "You've done it," she said. Jack was on one knee, panting. "Did I win?" She smiled through her tears. "You didn't just win, you changed us." Later that night, as the fires were put out and the wounded were healed, the council met once more, this time without robes, without titles. They stood as equals before Jack. The High Elder spoke first. "We thought your kind were weak, soft, unworthy." He looked down in shame. "We were wrong." Jack looked around the room. "I don't want to rule you. I don't want a throne. I just want my freedom and hers." Vera stepped beside him. The elder nodded. "Then you are free, both of you." But as Jack turned to leave, a young Draxian girl stepped forward. Small, bright-eyed. She knelt before him. "Please, don't go. Stay. Teach us. Lead us." More voices joined. Not commands. Requests. Jack looked at Vera. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. He turned back and smiled gently. "I won't lead as a warrior," he said. "I'll lead as a human." Epilogue, years later. Children with mixed features ran through the gardens, half human, half Draxian. Laughter echoed in the air. Jack stood on a balcony, older now, watching them with pride. Behind him, Vera approached with a baby in her arms. He kissed her forehead. "You think they'll remember how it started?" she asked. Jack looked out across the peaceful city. The same arena now turned into a library. "They'll remember one thing," he said with a grin, "that once upon a time, a human crashed into the wrong place and made it better." Final line: not by power, not by law, but by heart.